let's get started. Recently, in an interview after the Miami Grand Prix, it was identified that both Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz aren't happy about their performances. When asked why they felt like that, the answer was so surprising, and the whole internet took it in. Never in our life we once thought Charles Leclerc would even give a peace of mind on changing his brand from Ferrari. He had his godfather Jules Bianchi who guided him and gave him the Ferrari, so basically everything related to Charles Leclerc the F1 racer had to go with his look with Ferrari. But this real time, both the mates are surprisingly upset with Ferrari's performance. Do you remember the chant Charles used to shout? As a F1 fan, you should definitely remember that. Forever Ferrari by Charles Leclerc. Ferrari is the dream team for every driver, says Charles Leclerc. Yes, we're not going to argue with Charles either. Let's say Ferrari has a history of being the most popular team in F1 history, and still they manage to keep the phase. They are the most successful and oriented team than any other team. And surely that is why there's no doubt on why the fans who are so passionate and they still cling on to the team. As related to Charles Leclerc, his 24 years, he had it with none other than Ferrari itself, and it's not surprising. And him in a Ferrari suit is a whole new level of view. Ahem. Coming back to the issue, in a recent interview, the Ferrari King is a bit unhappy about the struggling performance of Ferrari, which made him to settle for short-term targets along with his priority. What does that even mean? News titles, it seems. And does that mean Charles is going to move to another team? Rumours state that he planned to change to Mercedes, and let's see how Charles Leclerc responded. No, not yet, not for the moment. For now, I'm fully focused on the project I am in today, which is Ferrari, and I fully trust and am confident for the future. Then we will see, but I am fully confident in the project of Ferrari. No, 0-0, really 0. You all smile because you don't believe me, but I promise, says Charles Leclerc. He said this in April 2023. Then what do you think made both Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz upset about Ferrari? The teammates commented that Ferrari is facing inconsistency with cars that actually led them to reduce their pace. After the Miami Grand Prix game, fans expected a lot, but the results ended with Carlos finishing 5th and Charles 7th. Charles said it's a very similar picture to the beginning of the year. We are competitive in qualifying, but once we come to the race day, we're struggling like crazy. Praising him, Charles, who has been on the pole position at the previous race in Azerbaijan. He finished second in the sprint in Baku, so in all his races he made sure to raise the hope of fans and Ferrari, and it's no joke. Leclerc, he had made a bombastic turns during his practice session and in other games, but when it came to Miami, it just turned it upside down. They had to struggle with the car bottoming at speed and being affected by the wind as well. The performance of the car was so narrow, and whenever you get a little bit out of it, it has huge consequences of balance, added Monegasque. It's from one corner to the other, and even in one corner sometimes you can have huge understeer, which goes to a huge oversteer, and this is clearly and obviously not ideal to have confidence in the car, Charles added. Plus, I had a lot of bottoming today for some reason, which I don't have the explanation for yet. Just consistency is what we're lacking at the moment, and we'll try and work for that. We need to find something now. We have been struggling in the race for a little bit of time now, so we need to come up with solutions. Mercedes are quick, Aston Martin are really quick in the race, the Alpine didn't look bad in the race. I cannot add anything more than what we have, a lot of work to do, and we need to find something. Clearly, Charles Leclerc is emotional about his loss, and the way he is furious yet humble about the way the race changed for nothing. Not just Charles Leclerc felt it, Carlos faced the same issue, amazed by Carlos's approach. He absolutely made sure he explained how and what the problem was. He started with the third grid on medium tyres but had to change to hard tyres, which changed everything, the whole race. This changed the game for Carlos. It's a very inconvenient car, it's very peaky. You're driving properly on a limit or on a knife edge, and this means that in the race we are paying the price, Carlos said. Surprisingly for them, their team boss Fred Vasseur understood the assignment. He knew his racers had faced the problem, yet it was hard to drive the car. To this he said, finding some consistency in the car's performance has to be our number one priority, especially in terms of tyre management, so that the confidence the drivers have in qualifying can be replicated in the race. Charles Leclerc's frustration can be seen in all of his interviews, and the same goes with Carlos Sainz as well. Both of them faced the same difficulty, but couldn't do anything to get their pace back. Monegasque now has only 6 points on his sheet, and the plans they had to get the world title seems a bit unreachable, seeing that other F1 racers are way too far to touch. Let's say Max Verstappen and Red Bull, and now Charles plans that he has to somehow finish the race with no penalties or even no issues with the car. His frustration and displeased emotion can be clearly understood from the interview he gave to Autosport.com. According to the team, Charles Leclerc said, "I'm frustrated obviously, it's the worst ever start to the season. I mean only 6 points, so it's frustrating." He further added, "For now, instead of thinking about long-term targets, I think just finishing a race without any penalties or issues whatsoever is a priority, and then take the momentum and see what's possible." While the fans started framing Charles after the setback and the penalty received in Jeddah, team boss Frédéric Vasseur responded, "People should not draw conclusions on Charles Leclerc's motivation, despite the team suffering from a poor start in 2023. It's Jeddah, not good news, but it's not the end of the season," he said. "Let's see what's happening in Jeddah and what could be the outcome of the event even with the penalty. But don't imagine for a second he could be demotivated or something like this. He's pretty convinced he's working with us, pushing the team, pushing everybody in a positive way. It feels so great that Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are blessed with such a good team principal," Frédéric Vasseur. When Charles decided to retire from 2 of the 3 races within the season of the tyre wear, Fred trusted Charles with his wants. He even claimed that nothing has gone the way Leclerc would have wanted things to go, and when the interviews are right after the race, the drivers are not able to digest what exactly happened and express their frustration to the media. Fred clearly understood why Chase was in disappointment, and he promised that the team would definitely stand with him and will work on the defects. After the race, with simultaneous interviews at last, Charles talked about and concluded that, I was speaking just now with Carlos, what we are lacking is consistency on the car, he issued. The car is not even from the corner to corner, it's just in the same corner. I can have a huge oversteer balance and then a huge understeer balance. Our car is so wind affected. This was discussed already. It should be appreciated how well Ferrari handled the situation with the help of the whole crew. A standing ovation should be given to the team for handling the issue smoothly without interference. The way the racers, the team boss and the crew staff managed to keep issue in their hands has never failed. Although the racers faced a malfunction, the team stayed as a team. For most situations like this, the issues are usually not well handled or properly addressed and taken care of. As a die-hard fan of Formula 1 races and a fan of the best partners Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, let's pray that they get better in time. Let us know in the comments what you think about the situation. For updates, do subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Thanks for watching.